Today we're looking at lesson 2-3, which is on subtracting integers. This is the lesson where you might have learned the process save, change, change. And this is because you want to basically change all subtracting problems when you're doing integers to addition problems, because once you change them to addition problems, you only need to remember a certain amount of rules, and those are the ones that we learned from the last lesson, so we'll review those as well. But the first thing we're going to do for all of these is we're going to save the first number, meaning don't change anything on the first number, change the subtraction sign to an addition sign, and then change the sign of the second number to whatever it wasn't to begin with. So an example here, we have 4 minus 15. We're going to save the 4, change the subtraction to an addition sign, and since 15 was positive, we're changing that as well to a negative. And now we're left with, well, what do we do when we add a negative and a positive? We end up subtracting the two, and then we take the higher number's absolute value as the symbol. So we're going to do 4 plus negative 15. That means 15 minus 4, which gives us 11. And since negative 15 would give us the higher absolute value, our answer is going to be negative 11. Here we're also save, change, change. So we save the negative 3, then we change this to a positive and this to a negative. And now we're left with adding two negatives. When we add with the same sign, we just add them and take the same sign. Here we can use a save, change, change again. This one, save the 18, change the minus to a plus, change the negative to a plus. So this actually becomes 18 plus 2, or 20. And again, save, change, change. So save the negative 5, change the minus to a plus, and the 11 to our negative 11 to a positive 11. But here we have a negative and a positive, so when we add a negative and a positive, we end up subtracting, which gives us 6, and since 11 is the higher absolute value, and that is positive, our answer is positive 6. Here we just need to plug in the values of the variables first, and then we're going to save, change, change. So we have negative 10 minus 7. That changes the, saves the negative 10, changes the minus to a plus, and makes the 7 negative. So we end up having two negatives, or adding the same sign. So we add and take this common sign. Here, let's plug in, we have 7 minus, and then 3, or negative 3 goes in for m, plus, and then negative 10 goes in for n. I would just start from the left and read to the right, so save the 7, change the minus to a plus, change the negative to a positive. And then we already have a plus, so we don't do any save, change, changes for the rest of the expression. And then we're going to solve, so we have 7 plus 3, which gives us positive 10, plus negative 10, and that's going to give us actually 0, because when we add the opposites, our answer is 0. And the last problem, we're going to deal with change in temperature. So on Mars, the temperature ranges from 68 degrees during the day to negative 220 degrees Fahrenheit at night. We need to find the change from the day to the night. So if we have a temperature at night of negative 220 degrees, we need to subtract the temperature from the daytime to get the change in temperature. So that means we save, change, change, save the negative 220, change this to a plus, change this to a negative, and it ends up being adding two negatives, which would give us negative 288 degrees. And that concludes lesson 2-3 on subtracting integers.